Gen Z have been done dirty when it comes to dating.
I fucking hate dating apps.
Dating apps are by far the biggest waste of time.
We're living in a generation where 49% of people think how much you earn matters more than your looks. Dating app culture has created an environment where people have so many options that no one wants to commit. And people's views of dating is more polarizing than ever.
You need to ignore her, bro.
I am so tired of feeling like it's never gonna be my turn to find love.
Don't talk to her. Don't text her for a week. You're gonna be amazed at what happens next.
These are some very bare minimum standards to be setting, and why does it feel so impossible for them to meet?
One side of the internet will tell you that women are too picky and need to lower their standards, whilst the other side says that women aren't picky enough and need to raise their standards.
Attractive women cannot afford to date down.
How attractive a woman is directly correlated to how faithful they'll be in a relationship.
I don't really care if this sounds mean. I can't respect a man who's done worse at life than me. How did you do worse in a system that was designed to help you do better?
Some people think that women have it worse with hookup culture, situationships, whilst other parts of the internet think that men have it worse.
Dating apps are uniquely depressing from a guy's perspective because you send out all these likes, then only a fraction of those likes turn into matches.
Why is it so hard to find a man who respects you and your time?
I feel like most people on dating apps use the app as like an ego boost and they don't actually care about going out on a date or meeting up with someone.
Men have just turned dating apps into like an easier way to access convenient sex.
We have never been at more polar opposite ends of the spectrum, but trust me when I say this is literally just the tip of the iceberg. Hey, if you're new, I'm Christina and I make videos for people who are feeling lonely. If you're a people pleaser, overachiever, over anything, you're in the right place. There's a whole side of the internet that I've come across that are very anti-men. Not anti-men like men are trash sort of way, but more so I'm living such a peaceful, happy, chilled life without a man in my life that I don't need a man. I'm happy with my friends, happy with my family, happy with my job. I'm so chilled and zen. There's that side of the internet that I see, but then there's also the side of the internet that says like, this is my prime. I'm 25. I want to settle down. I'm ready to have kids. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for that. And they can't find someone that they want. I've made a video on why Gen Z is undateable and how there's so many different things as a generation that we struggle with that make it really hard for us to find the right person. This is kind of a follow-up, but more a follow-up of just like how opposing our views are and how it makes perfect sense that we're struggling to date. Like the culture of men on dating apps and the culture of women on dating apps, the perceptions that we all have of each other is just totally different. And I feel like that's why a lot of us are just struggling right now. This comment that I saw summarized hookup culture so well. Dating for women is like shopping. Dating for men is like a job interview. I understand that men are struggling a lot on the apps because it's like, you have to be really attractive and really tall and you have to present yourself a certain way, otherwise you get no matches. Like it's really common for a guy to go on a dating app for like a few weeks and swipe on people, but literally have 0 matches, which as a girl, you can literally be an average looking girl and that will not be the case. Whether that's like quality matches is a whole different ballgame. I don't want people in the comments to be angry and be like, it's just not fair, like women get it easier, da da da. Trust me when I say the quality of matches is not giving. Dating for women is like shopping. Dating for men is like a job interview. Again, I feel like the shopping analogy is a good one. I feel like that does paint the picture very well. It just shows that women have a lot more options. For me and my friends, when we talk about the apps and we show each other the matches and we show each other the messages and then like the pics, it's just like the quality on dating apps. Sometimes I feel like there's a whole load of stuff on the clearance rack. Like you're shopping, sure, but a lot of it is just on sale and maybe has holes in. It's not very good quality. You're trying to find an item that's like a high quality item. It's not in the sale. It's good quality. It's not reduced. It's actually worth the price. I just feel like that is the struggle that maybe a lot of women have. In terms of hookup culture in general, I know that's a huge thing that makes people struggle with dating. I've not really gotten involved with hookup culture. It's not really my thing. I do know it's just a guaranteed way to get into maybe a situationship. And that's something that a lot of women struggle with right now is like guys want the benefits, the circumstances and the feeling of a relationship, but then they don't really want the label of one. I don't know if it's just me, but I also feel like men are just sick of women and women are just sick of men.
Half of Gen Z men no longer actively even trying to date. They're not even trying. And so the question is, well, why is that happening for women? Women, first off, are dating older. They want more economically and emotionally viable men, and that usually means older men. In addition, when young women are lonely, they have much better social networks. They have much stronger friend networks, whereas guys become kind of lone wolves and kind of literally sequester from everyone and everything.
What he said about women having the social networks and when they get lonely, I guess they have friends. I totally see that. I literally saw a girl, I think I'm probably going to watch her video next. I literally saw a girl kind of complaining about the male loneliness epidemic. Maybe not complaining, but she was definitely like having a rant where she basically said like, I don't feel bad for men. She was saying like, whose fault is this? The patriarchy. You guys created this system and now you're not happy with it. If you don't open up, it's not our fault. Women actually open up. Women open up to their friends. I think a huge problem with a lot of these things is that people are so general. Like there's such a generalization. Even just saying like women have social networks. A lot of women don't. Like so many women have toxic friends, or so many women, I feel like they literally don't have any friends. All they have is their family. Maybe they don't even have their family. It's such a generalization. And then, you know, the girl that was talking about, I don't feel bad for men, like men need to open up and stuff. Like some men do open up. Some, like, all these things are so general that they actually don't even make any sense after a while, because it's like you're talking about a small group of people and then painting it as if like the whole gender is that way. In the comments of this video, people were saying, I can't afford a girlfriend. You've got to be making 100K a year to afford a girlfriend now. Rather just focus on myself. It feels as if love is dead. No loyalty, no authenticity, no love, no friendship. Everything is an ick or a red flag these days. I'd rather be alone than have my feelings be used against me down the line. That one's a bit sad. Facts, I'm 22 and completely have stopped looking at women. I'm sure there's truth to all of this. I'm not even going to dispute that. But honestly, I feel like it's the same on both ends. It's not just men that are giving up and thinking like, I've given up on women. Like women have absolutely given up on men as well.
Julia Fox in an interview talked about how she's not dating men anymore. I do think this is part of a larger trend within a lot of women online and just women in general of like giving up on men, giving up on relationships, just reverting back to what feels safe. I'm never gonna date men ever again. Like when my friend says that to me, like I wanna, you know, go deeper into that. And like, will that really make you? And maybe it will.
Dating used to be a bit disappointing and that's normal, but now it just feels overly traumatic. I wanna be in love, but I'm tired. I'm a single 31-year-old and I'm done. Something isn't right with men. It took me 4 years of no men to realize I'm safer and happier solo. My time away from men, I experienced exponential growth in every area of my life because I was no longer held back. My thing is, I wonder how long this will last, because ultimately you can kind of ignore women. Like, I want to focus on myself. Let me just kind of sort out my career, focus on myself. And as a woman, you can say, I'm just happier alone. I've got my friends. I don't need a man in my life. We can all say that, but at the core, we will all crave some level of companionship. And I don't necessarily mean a relationship per se, because we're social creatures. Like, we need connection with other people. We need companionship and to be part of a tribe. It's the reason why, like, your life could be going perfectly. Like, you can have the career that you want. You can focus on your career, make the money, or you can, like, I don't know, like, things could be thriving for you. But if you don't have either really close friends or you don't have a relationship, you would feel like something is missing. Because whether we like it or not, it is, I'm sure it's on like Maslow's hierarchy of needs to have like some level of companionship or like connection with other people, respect from other people, relationships. Like you do need it as a human. It's not even like a want. You don't even want a relationship. It gets to the point where you will actually just need one. And I don't mean need like you need it to survive. You can live your whole life being single. You can literally die single. Like, you don't need a relationship per se. And I know that contradicts what I've just said, but like, there's always going to be something like in your heart telling you like there's something missing from my life. With that being said, I think it's healthy to have a single period of your life. Like, I love how people are talking about focusing on themselves and like just doing things for them, because I think if you have a busy, thriving life outside of your relationships, I feel like you can then come to a relationship as a much more whole person. Like, sometimes I think people go into relationships or go on the dating apps for a bit of like validation and to fill a void almost. I mean, I'm going to argue that's what hookup culture is. Like, people have a void that they want to fill and they're filling it with like casual sex with people. Another thing, I feel like people are very motivated by fear in the dating scene now, rather than being motivated by hope. Like, a lot of people in these comments are kind of sharing things about like how they don't want to have their feelings hurt, or what's the point of opening up? Like, I'm so traumatized. I feel like people are so scared now to get into relationships, and it's absolutely valid if you've had bad experiences. Everyone has. But it's also one of those things that it just comes with the territory. You can't really navigate the dating scene without having your feelings hurt. When I was 18 and I first started like going on dates and stuff, and I downloaded like Bumble for the first time, that was a big fear of mine. And I was trying to navigate it and like message only certain people that were my type, because I thought everyone else was going to hurt my feelings. Or I would just be so scared of having my feelings hurt that I was treading really lightly. And I think if you want to date without having your feelings hurt, I almost feel like that's not going to happen. Human beings are human beings. Like, we will do the wrong things. We all make mistakes. There is no way that you could even navigate dating people without hurting someone else's feelings. Like, I've gone on dates and I've had to like let people down. Like, even though I don't want to say anything bad and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, it just comes with the territory. So in a way, I think when you are motivated by fear and you're like, I've got my guard up, I don't want to have my feelings hurt, I'm going to back away, like I'm not going to get involved. It's just like, that it's kind of an inevitable thing. Even if you don't get your feelings hurt, you might hurt someone else's. And that's not a bad thing. It's just what happens. Like, it reminds me, I was actually talking to my friend. We were talking about Hinge. I was talking to her, I was telling her, I've met a new guy on Hinge. Things are going quite well. Like, I'm not going to get my hopes up, but like, he's nice. And I was like, I'm really nervous. I think we're going to meet up, but like, I don't want to catch feelings. Like, we'll see how it goes, but I don't want to get my feelings hurt. And I told her this. And she was like, what's wrong if you catch feelings? Like, just catch the feelings. You're not going to die. And I was like, you're right, actually. She was like, we're so scared of catching feelings, but like catching feelings is normal. Like, that is just what happens. It's not like this big scary thing that you can't survive or that will kill you. And when she said that to me, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, you're right. I think, I didn't click it at the time, but I think catching feelings and feelings being hurt is something that I built up so much in my head that I was so terrified of it. And I was weirdly like not fully being myself around people and like allowing dates to happen and allowing things to happen because I was like, I'm scared of having my feelings hurt. And I feel like me in that situation, and a lot of people, I feel like have a scarcity mindset when it comes to dating. Like, you should never put all your eggs in one basket or never like fully care about someone, because what if they hurt your feelings and then like you're gonna have to move on to the next one and then you're gonna be damaged and hurt moving on. It's kind of like you're even doubting the person before they've given themselves a chance to prove themselves to you. But with that being said, I think there's definitely in the Gen Z world, maybe even millennials as well, there's a lack of like an abundance mindset where people are a little bit more trusting. And you could argue it's because of the circumstances, like there are less trustworthy people around. In a book I read called Attached, it's basically talking about our attachment styles and how they show up and how they affect our relationships and stuff. And in the book, they said that one of the insecure attachment styles, which is avoidant, which is basically when you're one of these people that seems like you care about your partner, but deep down you're not fully invested. Like, you're always in the back of your mind thinking like, oh, well, if they were my perfect partner, they would behave like this. And well, my ex, they were great. My ex did this and they don't. Like, you low-key in the back of your mind are always a little bit distant from your partner. And you might be the sort of person to like ghost someone, or you might be the sort of person to like cut things off prematurely because you don't want to get your feelings hurt. And in the book, they were talking about the fact that most people on dating apps are actually avoidant. And it's because they are quite detached. They tend to cut things off quickly, and they tend to cut things off and then hop back into the dating pool. Whereas the secure attachment style, which is people that are very healthy, can talk about their feelings, will be open and honest with you, they won't hide things, they won't be clingy, but then they also won't be like detached and distant. They're actually often in relationships. So there's quite like a small pool of them in the dating apps because they're like happy in relationships. Even if things aren't going well and like sunshine and rainbows, secure people that have a secure attachment style are very willing to like communicate and talk things through. They're not going to up and leave the moment like a red flag happens or like the moment they get the ick. Which brings me on to my next point, which is we don't date people, we date avatars. A lot of us have a weird obsession with like the idea of a partner that we want. Like the avoidant attachment style that I was talking about. People that are avoidant have like this fantasy of what the perfect partner is. And they seem to constantly on dating apps chase that person. And if you don't meet all the criteria and tick all these boxes, like they're going to leave. Social media does not help with this because I feel like we all have an idea of what every single celebrity relationship has going on. Like if you spend at least 10 minutes on Instagram, like you know who's broken up with who's just been surprised in a hotel room with like the roses and the petals, and who's just got like, I don't know, a car gifted to them for their birthday. Like you have such an idea of what other people are doing in their relationships that it makes you think, okay, this is what I want as well. If he's not going to do this for me, then I don't really want him. Or likewise, if my girl doesn't look like this, then she's not bad enough for me. Like she's not attractive enough. Like I only want a girl that looks like this. Someone left a comment on my video and I think it sums up so well. We don't date people, we date avatars of success that we represent like trophies to our peers. You're not looking for a boyfriend, you're looking for a 6'2" guy, blue eyes, beautiful hair, nice career, who's attractive to many women, only somehow loves you. And men don't look for a girlfriend, they look for a beautiful maid who has the face of an angel, the body of an Aphrodite, who he can enjoy whenever he wants and is only loyal to him. Humans don't want to be in a relationship with another human. Humans want to be in a relationship with ideals. That is insane. We don't date people, we date avatars of success that we represent to our peers. So I'm not dating this guy because I like the guy. It's like, I'm dating this guy because of what he represents. That's so interesting. I feel like I'm naturally inclined to be like, oh, but that's not how I date. And I genuinely don't think it is, because I have a running joke with my friends that like, I don't date guys that are attractive. Like I physically, I don't find men attractive. I physically can't look at a guy and find him attractive. To find a guy attractive, I have to talk to them. Like, you could show me Michael B. Jordan, I'd genuinely be like, I don't find him attractive. Like, I literally don't. A guy's only attractive if there's like something we talk about where in conversation I find him funny and interesting and like easy to talk to. Because to me, attraction is more emotional than it is appearance. Like, it's why sometimes I could like go on a date with someone and like, this has happened before. Like, I've gone on a date with someone and like I get along with them and my friends are like, oh, show us a photo of him. And I'm like, no, like you don't need to see the photo of him. Like, it's okay. Like, he's really funny though. Like, he's good to talk to. Like, he's really funny. Anyway, a lot of people date avatars, they don't date people. Maybe I'm being naive, maybe I do as well, I don't know, but we tend to want a partner that is going to be kind of like a good representation of us in a way. I also think maybe that's why some girls, maybe that they want a guy to give them like princess treatment, or currently there's a trend of like black cat, golden retriever. You might genuinely want that for genuine reasons. You're not trying to prove anything to anyone else, but maybe some women like want the princess treatment so that it's like, I can show this off to my friends that my guy buys flowers for me, he treats me to hotel rooms, he treats me to all these things. Like, it's less so like you genuinely in your heart want it, but it's more so like, this is an avatar that I can portray to other people. Another huge problem we have is unlimited options, or the idea that we have unlimited options, because do we actually have unlimited options? Well, I don't know. The quality of people on dating apps isn't always up to what you think it is. And I stand by that. I think people act like, oh, as a woman, you always have so many options. Like, you easily get likes, you easily get matches. The quality though. And maybe even as a guy as well. People always like to talk about how a guy that's in the top 10% attraction wise will get access to a lot more women. But I'm convinced, I don't know if the quality of those women are really like what you think they are. If a woman is attracted to you mainly because of your looks, is that a woman that you want? And it goes both ways. I think if you're a girl and you're like genetically gifted, like you look amazing in your photos and you're only kind of portraying one side of your personality and only showing like very visually appealing photos but not as much personality, and guys like you just for how you look, I don't know if the quality of that is really what you want. One thing I do know though is that our culture has a huge maximizer mindset. When I was reading this book called How to Not Die Alone, it's essentially another relationship book that I read, but it was so good. So essentially, the author was talking about the fact that there's, in life, you're either a maximizer or a satisficer. Maximizers love to exhaust all of their options. If they're buying like, I don't know, a new laptop, they want to read all the reviews, watch all the YouTube videos, go to the stores, try them out, like test out the keyboards, like check the prices, like what discounts can I get, everything. The satisficer, they've got an idea of what they want. They've got their eye on maybe, I don't know, like an Acer, like a flexible touchscreen laptop. They'll try out a few, look at a few reviews and watch a couple videos, but they are satisfied once their needs have been met. The maximizer might also want that Acer laptop that's a touchscreen, but then they'll also consider like a MacBook Air. They'll also consider an iPad, and then they'll go back to the Acer, and then they'll think about like a Samsung. Like, they tend to like go back and forth a lot and like exhaust their options. And when it comes to dating, maximizers are the sort of people that they have an idea of what they want. They've got a long list of things. They've got that avatar in mind of who they want to date. And they tell themselves, like, until I find this person, until I meet someone, go on a date, and they tick all these boxes, like, I'm not going to settle. Maybe that sounds like someone that's high value, doesn't settle for less. But actually, in this book, the author, she's a relationship expert. She's actually head of love and science at Hinge. She said that satisficers are actually more happy and fulfilled in relationships. They're people that when they are going on dates or on the dating apps, they have an idea of what they want. They go in with like a vision. Okay, this is the traits that I want, not necessarily the appearance that I want. They're not really leading with type. It's more so like, what values do we have and what values do we share? Because that's another thing she said, like, your type is a waste of time. But I'm actually planning a separate video on that. Your type is a waste of time. Instead, what matters is like your values when you're going into dating. Like, satisficers go in thinking, I want someone with integrity, trustworthy, someone who wants a family, like similar future plans. If that means they're a 6'2" blonde, cool. If that means they're a 5'7" brown haired guy, I don't know, ginger person, I don't know, they're happy with that. Once they found someone that meets the values they're looking for and like they're satisfied, they stop looking. They don't think what if there's better, or they don't get the ick really quickly. They're not really sensitive to like red flags and beige flags. Satisficers in my mind sound like very secure attached people. They sound like people that if an issue does arise, on the first date or second date, like they will talk it through. They're not going to up and leave, which sounds very different to the person who has avoidant attachment, who is really alarmed and almost like triggered by any sort of difference or conflict that you have in a relationship. Maximizes and satisfies applies to literally all different areas of life. You might actually be maybe a satisficer in work or your hobbies, entertainment, Netflix. I don't know. Maybe you can find something on Netflix in 2 minutes and you're happy with that. But then when it comes to dating, you're a maximizer. Like you're never satisfied with the people you go on dates with. Like you always just want something more. I think it's tricky as someone like me. I've not been in a relationship. So sometimes I find I'm going on dates, and now that I'm knowing maximizer and satisficer, I'm like, okay, Christina, don't exhaust all your options. Like be sensible, be a satisficer. Satisficers are happier. Research shows satisficers are more happy and fulfilled. Don't try to exhaust your options. But then I find it difficult because it's like I don't actually know what I'm looking for. I've not had a relationship. I'm testing it out as I'm going. What I'm trying to work on is going more from the insecure attachment styles, like anxious and avoidance, and more to like someone who's secure, someone who can openly communicate and trust other people. It's okay to, in the book where they were talking about attachment styles, the author was saying like it's okay to actually like be dependent on people. We have a culture which is very like be independent, like be a boss babe, like you don't need men, like, which is all true. That's all great. You should be independent. You should have your own life and your own money and your own career. But when you're in a relationship, it wouldn't be I don't think it'd be a proper relationship if you didn't like depend on them a little bit, in terms of like, I think dependence to me, when I think of dependence, I think of like emotional, like emotionally, like I want you to be there for me. I want to be there for you. Like I want us to be together. I don't mean dependence like you're paying my rent or like you need to buy me shoes. Like that's like transactional actually, which is why sometimes when we go into dating, like not wanting to catch feelings, we're shooting ourselves in the foot, because it's like, to have a solid relationship, I do think you need to emotionally be there for each other. And without being there for each other emotionally, without catching feelings, how do you depend on each other for those feelings? It's so tough. I literally don't have all the answers, guys. Like it's so tough because it does feel like there's a lot of game players out there. The thing that I've come to realize is I feel like the more that you date and you're on the apps, you can quickly suss people out. Like there's just certain things people say, that guys say, that you're like, okay, you're messing around here. I was talking to a guy a few weeks ago who the conversation was going well. It wasn't blowing my socks off, but it was just like, small talk, chit chat. What do you for work? Where are you from? Oh, you live here? Oh, cool. Yeah, it's a nice area. Da, da, da. Very like one of them. And then he, out of the blue, it actually was unexpected. He was kind of like, oh, you should come over to the beach near my house so that we could go for a walk. Because I think we spoke about like enjoying the outdoors. And the fact that it was on the same day, he was saying like, come to my house today. And it was so like spontaneous, like now, like no warning, no planning for it. Like that was giving me a bit of a red flag in terms of like, I feel like he just wanted to hook up. You wouldn't invite someone on a proper date that's like conveniently a stone's throw away from your house. And you wouldn't do it as well, like no notice, like the same day. That's what I mean. I think after you talk to people a few times, there's just certain little things after a while that you'll pick up on where you're no longer naive. Like you're clued up. Like this is not a guy that's genuinely wanting to spontaneously see me. Like he wants to hook up. And there are a lot of those on the apps. I think I can only speak for myself as a woman, but I feel like you do have to have quite a high threshold for like, I don't need validation from this app. I'm not on Hinge to validate myself. I'm not on here looking for compliments or for like people to say that they like me, or you have to be on there like for genuine reasons. Otherwise, I think little moments like this where someone's telling you to come over to like literally basically his garden to go for a walk on the beach near his house. Like I think if you are on the apps for insecure reasons where you want validation, sometimes you might let little things like that slip, and then you might end up in situationship, or you might you never know. But validation as a woman and trying to get validation from relationships is a very common thing, but not something that people talk about often. I feel like if you're one of those girls that never gets attention in school or in high school, and then you turn 18, you start to like grow into your features, you start to dress differently, dress nicer, do your makeup, you might start to feel more confident in yourself, and then also start to like, I don't know, get attention from men. But if you're not careful and the validation that you're getting is like coming from the wrong place, you might end up in unhealthy relationships. I spoke about this a lot more in this video, which I'm going to link here, where I was breaking down a lot of the things that men secretly think in dating relationships, according to this author who's like an expert. So let me know what you think of that video. But that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.